What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. Last night I headed over to the Boston Bruins Nashville Predators game, and Bees won a great one in overtime. It's the most Saudi experience. Best part about being home, well, the weather's awful, but going out in a blizzard, taking the red line to the orange line, watching the Bruins win in overtime, and then doing the same and going back to Saudi. A little bit different than being in Tampa, so kind of can't wait to get back for the weather, but it's not bad to be home. But there's two things in this world I'm very passionate about, and you guys know them pretty well. One of them, Phil Housley belongs in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and it is a travesty upon the Hall of Fame voters that he's not in that sacred ground. And the second one is there needs to be a 902-0 reunion. You know, I'm talking like a real reunion. And all due respect to Mr. Housley, it's not necessarily in that order by any means. But I digress. A couple weeks ago, I tweeted a picture to Phil and his daughter Reed that said, Hockey Hall of Fame and Phil Housley. I made the sign myself, really arts and craftsy, and they said, thank you, and I appreciated it. I said, I'll have it January 2nd against the Bruins. Predators, obviously, Phil's an assistant coach. So I told a couple of my friends, I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm going to hold the sign up. Phil Housley will know who I am. I'm like, now, will you really know who you are, or do you just, I'm like, no, I don't tweet anyone too much. I tweet too much, but I don't tweet any specific person too much because I don't think anyone in the world should have to read my BS as much as I do. But anyway, I had to sign up. The players came out, got some fist bumps because I'm like a 4-year-old with that. I touched Mike Fisher's glove, so I was like, oh, Carrie Underwood. The 16-year-old me would have been going. But I've slightly matured. Slightly being the key word. But anyway, so Housley comes out. Sure enough, Mr. Housley looks up, CJ! Shook my hand, and it was really an honor to meet him for 15/10 of a second, so 1.5 seconds technically. But it was pretty cool, and he was nice, and he made me look cool in front of my friends. And then you're gonna say, "Oh, how does 902-0 come into this?" Well, because I figured he's Brandon Walsh. He's the moral compass of American defensemen of the 1980s. Much the way Brandon Walsh was the moral compass of that television series. And they're both from the Minneapolis-St. Paul region area. I'm pretty sure Housley's St. Paul, and I honestly 50-50 with Brandon and Brenda are Minneapolis with St. Paul. That's one of those things. It's like Tampa and St. Pete. If you say one over the other, people go, I'm from St. Paul, not me. Okay. It's a simple mistake. It's like when people say they're from Boston and they're from, Framingham. A little bit different, but you say, well, all right, Brandon Walsh was the moral compass. I get that, but how's he a moral compass? Because compared to Al Iafrate and Chris Chelios, who would have been his 1984 Olympic teammates, which, not to get too sidetracked, there's an unbelievable read about Housley in the SI vault from his rookie year of the Sabres. There's one for Bobby Carpenter when he was at St. John's Prep. There was one for... I love reading about those American players from up in the 80s, but that's just because I'm weird like that. But, if you put Housley between Iafrate and Chelios, if you put Charlie Sheen between those two, Sheen will be the moral compass. That's not a knock on either, especially the Planet. Iafrate was a bad boy, one of my all-time favorite players. But, it's just a pretty cool experience, and hopefully, I'd like to thank Phil Housley for making me look cool for 90 seconds in front of my friends. I was a cool cat. And then I started saying things like cool cat, and the coolness I had attained went out the window, per usual. But, it was an awesome thing, and hopefully next time I see Mr. Housley, I will have my camera rolling. I will be an accredited media member, and he'll be the head coach of the team. I'm not advocating firing Trotsy. I would never advocate a great coach like him to be fired, so that wasn't a diss on Trotsy. So don't put words in my mouth, tweeters. But anyway, that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Big thanks to Phil Housley and his daughter Reed for, getting me a handshake in front of my friends that made me look cool. And I will keep active in ensuring that the Hockey Hall of Fame knows my opinion on the fact you belong in that sacred building. That's all I got. Stay tuned for more episodes of the Power Play throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.